Namaste children. I have come back with the fourth video session of lesson 2 components of food. Before getting into the lesson, I have an information to be shared with you. Have you heard about the midday meal scheme in schools? If you have not, I will tell you what is that midday meal in school. Midday meal scheme is a program launched by the Government of India in the year 1995 by our Honorable Prime Minister Dr. P.V. Narasimha Rao to feed the school children during lunch. To understand the purpose of midday meal scheme, you need to know about malnutrition. Malnutrition is a condition in which people or children will not get the required nutrients through their diet. Because of this malnutrition, there are a lot of health issues. Some of them, let me say, underweight, height will not be proportionate to weight, stunted growth, and sometimes overweight or obesity may happen due to the eating habits of children with more carbohydrates and less other nutrients. These are the conditions that happens due to malnutrition. Now let us see how this malnutrition and midday meal scheme goes hand in hand. Do you know half of India's population is suffering from malnutrition? What is that malnutrition? Malnutrition is nothing but not getting nutrients in required amount. So, half of our country is suffering from this malnutrition. To prevent malnutrition, Government of India has launched this midday meal scheme. In olden days, people in rural areas were not fond of sending children to school. But after the launch of this scheme, people allowed children to go to school because there the children were provided with nutritious food every day during lunch. This attracted people, and as a result of this, government prevented malnutrition to some extent, and thereby they also sowed the seeds of education. This scheme has great connection with what we are going to learn today. Let us start with the last session of our second lesson. At the end of today's session, you will be able to state what is a balanced diet, and also you will be able to identify the diseases caused due to the deficiency of nutrients. Come on, let us see what is a balanced diet. The regular food what we eat is called as a diet. Now what is this balanced diet? A balanced diet is nothing but the diet which is composed of all the nutrients in required quantity along with water and fiber. It is called as balanced diet. Let us see how to make our balanced diet. Our diet should comprise of more amount of fruits, vegetables, cereals and pulses, and moderate amount of oils and animal foods, and finally less amount of cheese, butter, ghee like fatty substances. This is what our balanced diet. Use your creativity to draw a food pyramid to show the balanced diet. Let us move on to our next topic, deficiency diseases. What is called a deficiency disease? Let me explain you. If we don't eat proper diet with required nutrients, then we are prone to get diseases. Such diseases are called as deficiency diseases. For example, if I don't consume protein-rich food, then I may suffer diseases related to lack of protein. So, when we get diseases due to the deficit of nutrients, such diseases are called as deficiency diseases. The deficiency diseases we are going to discuss today are all connected with malnutrition. So, be careful and prevent yourself from malnutrition by eating a balanced diet. The first nutrient what we saw is our carbohydrate. It is our energy giving nutrient. When we don't consume carbohydrates in a required amount, then we are prone to suffer from weakness, lack of stamina. For example, if I do a lot of physical activity and don't consume carbohydrates in large amount, then I may suffer lack of stamina. So, carbohydrates is an essential nutrient which provides you adequate energy, so it should be consumed in larger amount. For carbohydrates, we did not see any specific disease, but for protein, we have a specific disease called kwashiorkor. This disease is a deficiency disease of protein. It usually attacks children from the age of 1 to 5. Can you see the picture there? Symptoms are clearly depicted. These children are affected from kwashiorkor, a protein deficit disease. The symptoms are retarded growth, pot belly and swollen limbs. So it is necessary for us to consume adequate amount of protein. The next deficiency disease we are going to see is the marasmus. This marasmus is caused due to the deficit of protein and carbohydrates. This also usually occurs in small children. This disease, which results as a deficit of protein and carbohydrates, is called as PEM. PEM is nothing but protein, energy, malnutrition. Can you see the symptoms over there? The child is suffering from weak legs, the body has not grown properly. Usually these children are mentally retarded. So, keep it in mind, children, it's necessary for us to eat protein-rich foods in the required amount. Next, we are going to see about the diseases caused due to the deficiency of vitamins and minerals. In the previous session, we have learnt about the classification of vitamins. Do you remember that? Vitamins are classified into two types, fat-soluble vitamins and water-soluble vitamins. Now we are going to see what is a fat-soluble vitamin. Fat-soluble vitamins can be stored in our body in the fat deposits, whereas water-soluble vitamins cannot be stored. They have to be consumed regularly. So the name itself says they are fat-soluble and the others are water-soluble. Now we are going to see the sources, function and deficit disease of water-soluble vitamins. Do you remember the water-soluble vitamins? Yes, vitamin B and vitamin C are the water-soluble vitamins. Based on the functions, vitamin B is further classified into vitamin B1, vitamin B2 and vitamin B12. Let us see in detail the sources and functions and deficit diseases of vitamin B. First, we are going to see the vitamin B1. The sources of vitamin B1 are meat, eggs and yeast, and its main function is to convert carbohydrates into energy. The deficiency disease of vitamin B1 is beriberi. Can you see the symptoms? Yes, the function and symptoms are interrelated. If vitamin B1 is not there, carbohydrates will not be converted into energy. As a result of it, the person may suffer from less appetite, irregular heart function. The next vitamin is vitamin B2. It is abundantly found in milk products and its function is to maintain healthy skin and mouth. Due to the deficiency of vitamin B2, people may suffer from skin disorders and its symptoms are cracked lips and bloodshot eyes. What is that bloodshot eyes? Eyes may be red. Next vitamin is vitamin B12. This vitamin B12 is abundantly found in dairy products and its main function is in the formation of RBC. RBC is nothing but red blood cells. If this vitamin is not found or less, then people may suffer from anemia. Anemia symptoms, weight loss and tiredness. Next, let us see about vitamin C. Let us see the sources of vitamin C. Vitamin C is rich in citrus fruits, sprouts and potatoes. It has a great role in the healing of wounds to maintain cartilage, bones and teeth. If this vitamin C is not found or it is less, people may suffer from a disease called scurvy. Scurvy is nothing but red spot on skin, bleeding gums, loss of teeth and poor healing of wounds. Do you know, when we eat fruits and vegetables raw, vitamin C will be acquired in our body. Next, we are going to see about the sources, functions and deficiency diseases of fat-soluble vitamins. First is our Vitamin A. Vitamin A has a great role in the vision, and it is also rich in dried colored vegetables. Can you see the sources of vitamin A? Yes. If vitamin A is deficit, then people may suffer from a disease called night blindness. The symptoms of night blindness are poor vision in dim light and dryness of eyes. The next fat-soluble vitamin is vitamin D. The sources of vitamin D are egg yolk, sea fish and liver. Do you know sunlight is a rich source of vitamin D? The functions of vitamin D are it helps in the formation of bone and teeth. If vitamin D is deficit, small children may suffer from rickets and elder people or adults may suffer from osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is a condition in which bones become weak and fragile. The next fat-soluble vitamin is vitamin E. Usually, deficiency of vitamin E does not occur due to the diet. This deficiency diseases are commonly found in newborn infants. It has a great role in the formation of red blood corpuscles and it is rich in all the oils. You can see the sources of vitamin E on the screen. If vitamin E is not found or deficit, the children may suffer from nerve damage and as a result, the symptoms will be hair loss, muscle weakness and leg cramps. Finally, we have vitamin K. Vitamin K is abundantly found in green leafy vegetables. You can see the natural sources of vitamin K on the screen. Can you see that? It has a great role in the clotting of blood. What is that clotting of blood? For example, if we fall down and get hurt, the wound will be bleeding. To stop the bleeding, this vitamin K is essential. You imagine if vitamin K is not there, blood clotting will not happen. As a result of it, people may suffer from blood loss. Blood loss is also called as hemorrhage. So, vitamin K is very essential for blood clotting. That's all about vitamin deficient diseases. Next, we are going to see about the mineral deficit diseases. The last topic of this lesson is the mineral deficit diseases. Already, we have classified minerals as macrominerals and microminerals. I have listed the macrominerals. Shall we say their names? Sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, iron and phosphorus. Let us see the functions of macrominerals. Most of the macrominerals have a great role in the functioning of heart and muscles, and secondly, in the formation and development of bones and teeth. And finally, a very important function of macrominerals is the formation of red blood cells, which has a great role in blood clotting. Finally, let us see the diseases caused due to the deficit of macrominerals. Let me tell the names and you try to repeat after me. First is hyponatremia. Hyponatremia is nothing but due to the low level sodium in our body. Next is hypokalemia, which is due to low potassium level, and the next one is hypomagnesemia, which is due to low magnesium level, and finally it is anemia due to low iron level. Let us see about microminerals. There are 4 important microminerals. They are copper, iodine, manganese and zinc. Each micromineral has a great role, and if it is deficit, it causes a disease. First, let us see about copper. Copper has a great role in bone and tissue production. If it is less, then people may suffer from anemia. Next is iodine. You would have heard about this iodine and iodized salts. Have you heard about this? The main function of iodine is in the functioning of thyroid gland, which you will be reading in detail in your higher classes. As a result, if iodine is less, people may suffer from a disease called goiter. And the next micromineral is manganese, which has a great role in bone formation. If manganese is less or deficit, People may suffer from osteoporosis, which is a disease related to bone, and dermatitis, which is a skin disease. The last micromineral is the zinc, which has a great role in increasing the immune power. If zinc is less, people or children may suffer from retarded growth. We are towards the end of today's session. Do you understand why did I spoke about the midday meal scheme in the beginning? Yes. Nutritious food is very much essential for each one of us to lead a life without disease. So, this midday meal scheme helps the poor children to get nourished food at least once in a day. So, it is very important for us to take an oath that not to waste food. Let us see the methods of cooking food. Do you know, cooking makes the food soft and delicious, but wrong cooking methods makes the food lose its nutrients. For example, if you cook food in lots of water and throw away the water, no nutrients will be there in the food. And if you peel the skin and throw it off, there also nutrients may be lost. So take care while cooking and eating fruits, vegetables, everything. That's all, children. We have come to the end of this lesson, Components of Food. Let us recall the entire lesson through this concept map. Shall we? Yes. Components of food has 5 nutrients. Can you recall them? It is carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals. Apart from these 5 nutrients, we have fiber and water. Carbohydrates and fats are energy-giving food. Protein is a body-building food, whereas vitamins and minerals are protective foods. The role of fiber is also very important. It helps to remove the undigested part. And also, we discussed about balanced diet in today's session. This balanced diet also depends upon the age of the person, level of activity he does. The level of activity is nothing but the physical activity he does, status of health, how healthy the person is, and finally gender. Based on the gender also, this balanced diet differs. That's all, children. This lesson comes to an end. This lesson had varied topics which kindled our curiosity. I really enjoyed explaining this lesson. Do you all enjoy this lesson? And also, we learned the importance of food, and also, if we don't eat proper food, the consequences we face also we have discussed in this lesson. Thank you, children. Let me come back with a new topic, separation of substances, in the next video. Thank you, children.